What's this thing? One second, guys. We about to get this thing started in just a second. I just got to set some things up on my end. Just set some things up on my end. All right, let's go ahead and get this started, huh? All right, so what's up? My name is Vincent Oliver. Welcome to my live stream. What we're going through right now is we're going through AI disruption. Man, it's been a crazy February. So I'm going to catch you up to date. The biggest thing that's really dropping is Cloud Code coming out from Anthropic. Basically, what they did was they they're turning your computer into an AI coding machine, and so you're going to have individuals making whole software companies by themselves. It's going to be really, really cool. Some people think it's the end of SaaS, right? It's not, but we're going to get into that. So let's go ahead and shift over and let's get started with this. All right, so this is from Bloomberg, and they're going on. They're speaking about really what just took place a couple weeks ago in the markets. People are totally dropping and getting rid of their software stocks, right? So the software stocks are just uh, they're getting rid of them because AI is coming in and they're disrupting everything.
As I've been reading the notes and the reports about this, I think back to the digitization of everything in the early part of this century. Should we be thinking about AI in the same way that anything and everything that could be automated will be automated?
I mean, we have to think about AI in steps. So right now, what we are seeing is, the power of these large language models in coming up with a new interface, a chatbot, some sort of a simple interface where you can throw in data, you can automate, steps of your workflow, but generalizing that everything, will be fully automated is a stretch. And that's where, the market is right now not discerning.
So what he's saying is these AI is cool, but all it is this AI language model and these little simple interfaces. Well, I don't know. In my opinion, I don't think he's giving AI enough credit because the interface is not why AI is so powerful. The interface is just a way of getting the simple public that does not know how to do software development um to basically hook AI up to them. So it's not just, oh, it's just some simple interface. No, this thing is going to be the backbone that's going to be running companies and doing all of the work of tech companies behind the scenes. And so what he's saying is, oh, the people who are afraid in the markets, they're too scared. It's not that big of a deal. Well, what happened when software came? Are there any companies that don't use software today? Is anyone still using a pen and a paper to hold like important documents? Oh no? Oh no. Oh, they're using Dropbox. Oh, they're using their Drive, Google Drive. Oh, okay. Well, so it does seem like when new technology comes in, it does seem like it takes over. No?
What are the software entities that must have that are running our critical systems? We're still running mainframes. Even with public cloud and the 15-year sort of secular growth we had with cloud, mainframes are still around. So that's where sometimes there can be an overreaction in terms of extrapolating the trends. But look, there's no doubt that things will change as a result of these LLMs. And what Anthropic is showing is the coding agent gives you the ability to, come up with new types of software very quickly. And they are actually releasing new products almost every month, it seems like.
Did you see that? He said, well, they are coming out with new products every month. Yeah, man, it's about to be a bloodbath on the market. It's about to be a bloodbath in the market. Anthropic came out with Cowork, and people were like, "This is the greatest." And so we'll get into Cowork versus Claude in a little bit. This is or Claude Code in a little bit. This is really what's causing this disruption. It's one company, it's one AI company, Anthropic, who made Claude Code, which is an coding agent, but it can use your computer to just run code all day and long. It would be like if you were just a software developer, and you just could run code 24/7. What happens if I have 10 computers? How much productivity can I get out? Right? Um, and so yeah, and they're the ones that just came out with Cowork. And what Cowork can do is Cowork basically is kind of like a coding agent that can go and use your computer and basically use code. So you could basically talk to your so it's a language model that uses code. So I could ask my computer, I could ask Cowork, hey, arrange my files in a way that makes a lot more sense. Put things that are complementary into folders together. And what it'll do is it'll go through code and it will read the code and adjust things automatically. And so you could adjust things like on your computer. But Cloud Code came out and now you can just produce a ton of code and you can build things just from your imagination. Huh, interesting, right? And so I understand what he's saying. He's saying, well, we still use mainframes, we still use cloud, we still use all of these other softwares. And that's very true. However, how are investors supposed to predict which software is going to survive and which isn't? Wouldn't it be smarter? These people rode the wave of software from the bottom all the way up. Wouldn't it be smarter when I'm here and I don't know if it's going to go down or keep going up to take my money off the table for a short period of time? I mean, we're talking about billions of dollars and then wait to see, is this going to go up? Is it going to go down? What's the AI going to do? And then if AI is going up, okay, let me invest these billions back in the market here rather than in these software companies that are dying off. You know, but to say, oh, they're just scared, maybe they should be scared. You know who shouldn't be scared? You and me. If you have a net worth under $10 million, you should not be scared. You should feel encouraged. This is going to be the greatest time to create prosperity for yourself, for your family, for your loved ones, for your friends, for whoever, for your team. If you run a company, if you run a team, if you're a business owner for your team, if you're in a department and you're a department lead, that team can crush every other department in the company if you will teach them how to do this. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm going to show you how to do this. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do this. So follow along on the journey. I would subscribe if I were you, because we're going to figure out, okay, how do we put AI in place to get the maximum amount of output that we know that it's capable of.
So it's interesting. There's a great Bloomberg exclusive on the terminal, and it says last fall, Apollo Global Management's John Zito, he left an audience of investors stunned. Addressing a gathering in Toronto, he said that the real threat for private capital markets wasn't tariffs, not inflation, not a prolonged period of elevated interest rates. Rather, he said the real risk is software debt. So you're saying that's the
So it's not a risk to private capital markets. And they're when they say that they're speaking about private equity, they're speaking about individuals who are not publicly held companies who have a bunch of money and they want to invest all their money. It's not AI is not a risk to them. It's a risk to them because they don't know who the next winners are going to be. But it's going to be the greatest opportunity for them to make more money because they're going to be able to basically bet on who's going to be the next greats. In the same way, if you bet on Amazon in 2000, you won. That's what's going to happen. And you know what's really going to happen is, okay, you don't get to rest on the 50 software companies that you know and love. No, you're going to have to go out and compete and figure out, okay, we now have 500 new companies coming that do great work. Which of these are we going to put our bets on? Which of these are going to be the next large software companies that are going to be in the S&P 500, right? And so what does that mean for people like you and people like me is money that was just being accumulated at the top is going to come raining down to the people who are going to utilize this. If you're an employee, there's going to be so much money coming into anything, any company that knows how to use artificial intelligence, that employees are going to get a raise. If you run a team and you can teach your team how to use artificial intelligence, your team and yourself is going to get a raise. If you are in management, if you are a director, if you are a CEO, if you can figure out how to use artificial intelligence, you're going to get up, you're going to go higher. If you're an entrepreneur and you know how to use artificial intelligence, there's going to be money falling out of the sky for you, right? If you're a sales professional and you know how to use artificial intelligence, you're going to be able to get so much more work done. You're going to be able to qualify leads faster, follow up with leads faster, get more appointments, and close more deals because of artificial intelligence. So I need people like you and people like me to be encouraged, right? We're always so afraid of everything. And that's why other people come in and they eat our lunch. We should be the ones who use artificial intelligence and create prosperity for ourselves. Like, why is it that these companies can totally shift, right? Totally shift, get everything on board, and then start making $1 billion a year, but us as individuals can't make a $500,000 a year lifestyle for our families using artificial intelligence? Like, th- this is what we should be thinking. This Claude code is going to make so many individual solo SaaS and AI companies, it's going to be ridiculous.
Not the case.
No, in fact, if anything, headlines like this are typically a sign of capitulation and they signal the bottom. So I'm in that other camp where things have gone too far. And look, these companies were trading at premium valuation multiples. So when things come down,
You hear that? These companies are scamming. these, these companies are scamming. They had it so good before AI came. They they were selling 75 times what their profits were. They were valued. A company that would bring in 20 million in profits could be valued at over $1 billion, $2 billion, and then the owners are selling off their shares slowly over time with $2 billion. Like, they were scamming. They were scamming, right? Why is a company that makes $20 million a year getting 200, 300, $400 million of capital invested, but they only grow to 30 million a year? They were scamming. Like, I need you to understand that the elites that we're also afraid of, the organizations we're also afraid of, they're not as skilled as you would think. Right now, Google's hard to compete with. Okay, shout out to Google, shout out to Alphabet, shout out to YouTube. Love y'all. Um, Apple's hard to compete with. Mark Zuckerberg with Meta is hard to compete with, but these other software companies, these other tech companies, man, they aren't as skilled as you think they are. They aren't smarter than you. The people running them are not smarter than you. They might know more than you because they've been exposed longer to the information, but they're not smarter than you. And so this is an opportunity. What happens if the income that you made could get invested into, and you were given a 10x valuation multiple? If you make 100 grand a year, you're now valued at $1 million. People are giving you money, right, to see where you can grow to. What happened if that happened for you? If you were 20x value, whatever your income was, because you know how to use technology. I mean, it really doesn't even make sense what they were doing. And so, stock portfolios are down, and it's understandable. I wouldn't say stop investing, but stock portfolios are down. But if you have $1 billion invested, maybe you do need to stop investing for a period of time until you can make your next move.
down 30.
This isn't retirement investing that they're talking about. You also have to understand that. Like, this isn't like retirement investing where, oh, okay, well, you should always stay in the market. Well, not for these guys. The people who are taking their money out of the market, you know, can feed themselves for the next 1,000 years. Like, you know, Just because the big guys are taking their money out the markets, I'm saying that does not mean you should be taking your money out the markets. And obviously, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I'm just telling you, don't do just, oh, the big guys are taking their money out the market. I'll take my money out the market. Don't do it because you don't know the thought that's going on behind it. It's a different situation.
40%, it's still a higher multiple than your S&P and your overall indices. So valuation compression is a function of growth rates coming down.
Right.
And for software, there's no doubt that you've seen a slowdown in growth rates because IT spend is being allocated to AI right now.
So is that a case that it's just being reallocated at the moment and it'll come back? Like, is this cyclical in nature? Like, give us an idea. Like, so curious about, is there something to be made?
So she's saying, okay, so you're saying the money is leaving the software market to be invested in the AI market, and you say that we shouldn't be concerned about it. So, sir, are you saying that the money going into the AI market is going to come back into the software market? And he knows the answer is no. And so this is why it's important that we do things like this and we talk about, okay, what's the Bloomberg global head of technology research person saying? And then we break it down and say, but what is he saying really? Because he's making it sound like, well, the money's flowing out, but it's going to flow right back in just as fast as it came, as it left. Well, really, what it really is the money is going out and more money is going to keep going out because these AI companies are going to take over.
Mandeep, that some of these companies, maybe some of their products won't be needed anymore.
There could be displacements, and that's where these companies used to have net retention rate.
For a researcher, he sure sounds like he doesn't know anything. And I have no issue with Mandeep Singh because I'll be honest with you. One thing that I will say is people act like, oh, well, human beings are no longer going to be necessary, and he does a good job of making sure that people know, like, hey, you're still going to be necessary. Like, AI can't do everything. Um, but to say, well, there certainly could be displacements, and he's the head of technology research for a huge media company who produces content. Really, if you think it's for us, it's really not. Produce content for very, very, very wealthy people, and so he has to be careful with what he says because he does not want to incite panic. Okay. But to say oh, well, there could be some displacement. No, there will be displacement. There will be displacement. And if it's not the companies themselves, it's the people working for the companies. That's the scary part. Right. So maybe the companies can stay in place, but you know what's gonna happen? They're gonna lay off 20, 30,000 software engineers, and they're going to replace it with the best 100 software engineers who know how to use AI and who's going to have cloud code on 10 different computers in their room, just going bum, 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 right? And they're going to run their whole $5, $10 billion company with 100 people. So scary. But you should not be afraid because you should be learning how to do this because now there's an even playing field. See, whenever a new technology gets released, you have to know that there's now an even playing field where the rich people are a little sometimes more lazy to get to the technology because they think, well, I'm already rich. Great. That leaves room for us, the little guys, who say, no, I'm going to learn how to do this. And I'm going to be like an AI consultant between the companies and the tools, or I'm going to be an implementer or an AI builder between the companies and the tools. It has never been a better time to earn a living for your family than right now.
Rate of 120, 125%, which means 20% upsell every year. That's not happening. Those, even though gross retention is still 98, 99%, the upsell has come down. So from that perspective, the growth rates have come down. They're not growing 20, 25, 30% anymore. It's more mid-teens. And that is where the valuation compression makes sense. But I'm still not in the camp where you will completely
Not
disintermediate.
not rest in peace yet for software stuff.
So notice he said valuation compression, but he's not saying they're overvalued, even though they were overvalued. See, they thought, oh, this is the most cutting edge technology. It doesn't matter if they let me invest and I'm giving them a 50x multiple on how much they make. It doesn't matter. It's greed. It's greedy, right? It's I know it's gonna keep going up. It's like gambling, where it's like, yo, this is getting too good to be true. And then a new technology comes. Think about this. This is one AI company that produced one thing. One AI company produced one thing, and now all of a sudden people are like diving out of the markets, like hundreds of billions of dollars leaving the market. Oh,
Well, if we think back to about 15 years ago, Mark Andreessen of Andreessen Horowitz had this famous essay, Software is Eating the World. And it was seen as really prescient at the time, and especially looking back as very prescient. Is AI eating software now?
Well, it certainly is having an impact because you don't need as many seats as you need. So a lot of the business models are seat based. Well, if you're not upselling, that is a sign that you're not adding as many employees and selling your software on a seat basis. It's more consumption, which is why all the AI infrastructures stocks still are doing very well because Gen AI compute is all about consumption. This is not a seat based model. And so, from that perspective, there is a shift in business model that is taking place, and all these companies have to adapt. And when I look at their gross margins, they haven't come down. If you're
For
investing
the SaaS
for the
companies,
SaaS companies, if you're investing in generative AI infrastructure, your margins will come down. That for me is actually a sign that you're investing enough that it's starting to show up in the margins. It hasn't happened yet.
you mentioned with the SaaS companies, the upsell, right? That has been made.
so one thing he just said that's important for you is that with AI, it will be cheaper to invest in software and technology to run whatever your business is. And if you are an employee, you still have a business, that's your business. It'll be cheaper to run it because basically they run on credits, right? So it's like it's like a fifth of a cent to use each iteration of the AI versus software where they're gonna charge you 200 bucks a month just to have a seat or to have a user on the software.
Them on kind of on a tear. Does that come back eventually after the AI spend and build out and all the money that's being allocated now? Does it come back to these companies?
So the upsell is kind of dependent on what are the add-on products these companies layer on over time. Well, those add-on products have to be AI based. Now you can't, develop old-fashioned products that you had before and hope to sell because that's not going to happen. So it has to be. That's done. So that's where there is a definitive change in UI that is taking place because of chatbots and all these interfaces. And so any add-on products that you are developing has to be, in line with the chatbot interface that everyone seems to be piling on.
And a really interesting story by Joe Easton and Henry Wren about legal software firms and other data service companies plunging after Anthropic released this new AI automation tool. Investors worry could eat into much of their core business. We saw shares of Renters Kluwer, London Stock Exchange Group, Thomson Reuters, Experian all take a hit today. Why is this sector in particular potentially hurt by Anthropic's latest move?
I mean, look, it happened with coding agents and, all the stocks that were DevOps oriented. People took a hit because Anthropic showed what their coding agents could do.
So Anthropic is Claude.
So now it's happening in the field of legal analysis, document analysis, that kind of stuff. And that's the thing. What they are claiming is this software was coded entirely by, the coding agent with minimal intervention from a human. So when you
They just tell
We did create
you
something,
have a prompt.
right?
You
Based,
prompt Claude to do something.
you prompt, and it's a pretty long prompt.
yeah.
But then the human in the loop is just overseeing what the coding agent is generating, and
So imagine this. Imagine if you could create an entire company by just being good at prompts. So how important is prompt engineering? How important is it to understand how to make a prompt that is 10,000 words long, but every word is necessary and every word gets you closer to what you're looking to do? How important would that be? Also, another thing is, since more and more people will be able to have their own software, tech, AI companies, what's really going to be important is sales and marketing. People who sell sales and marketing services to people are going to be the ones who are the big winners. And the reason why is because now there's more people in the market trying to push their products out because more people can create great companies, right? So instead of having 50 software giants, you're going to have 500 or 5,000 software, not giants, but people who can do a really, really great job. And so there's going to be a lot of need for marketers and salespeople. So prompt engineering, right? And sales. If you can be good at writing prompts and you can be good at selling products, what's going to ever hold you back?
uh, there's very little code that the human has to add from their side. At least that's what they're saying. We'll have to make sure that is the case.
Well, this is why so many people say with AI, right? It's about humans learning to work with it, right, as a tool and asking it the right things to create things. But it's pretty fascinating. Just final thoughts as everybody's kind of like, oh my god, we're trying to figure out this trade. You're saying kind of slow down. It sounds like to me, bottom line, it's more of a valuation story.
It is a valuation story. These companies were rich when it comes to their multiples. And so, as a sector, and right now, investors are selling everything in software.
Right.
They're looking for, oh, is this a critical system or a system of record that you can't really replace with an AI system? They're just selling everything in software. And so, to me, this is a sign of, just indiscriminate selling. And at some point, we'll have a bottom.
So you see who I like watching. All right, so he spent all this time. So let's talk about it. So he spent all this time talking about talking around Claude Code. Uh, They said, oh, the company Anthropic. Well, what is the technology that they dropped? Claude Code and Claude Cowork. Claude Cowork dropped first. Claude Cowork basically, you can basically have, it's like having someone else working on your computer while you're working on your computer. I guess that's the best way I could put it. So you can give it task, and because the code is so good, because it's able to take language and turn it into code, through code, it can adjust anything or do anything. Basically, anything you could do on your computer, Cowork can do it for you while you're also using your computer. Okay. Then what they did right after dropping Cowork was they dropped Code, Claude Code, where you can turn your computer into a coding agent itself. And so this is very important. So what we're going to do next is we're actually going to hop into Claude Cowork and we're going to see what is it talking about. Okay. So give me 1 second. Let's check this out. All right. So this is Julian Goldie SEO. Pretty high quality overview, 8 minutes. You know what? I got some other things that I want us to watch, but I don't know. Maybe I'll just be on here for another 2, 3 hours until somebody understands why this is so important.
Code update is insane. Okay, so Claude just dropped something huge, like really huge. This new Claude Code desktop update is not normal. It basically turns your computer into an AI coding machine.
It turns your computer into an AI coding machine. Okay.
And I'm going to show you exactly how it works. Stick around because this one is going to blow your mind. So right now, as we speak, Anthropic just shipped a massive update to Claude Code Desktop. And when I say massive, I mean this thing changes everything. Before this update, Claude Code was cool. It could help you write code. It could answer questions. But now it does stuff that I did not think was possible yet. We are talking about an AI that can run your app, review your code, fix your errors, and even merge your pull requests all by itself while you sit there and drink your coffee. And I know that sounds crazy. I know. But I'm going to break down every single feature for you right now. And by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly why developers everywhere are losing their minds over this. Let's start with the first big feature, live app previews. So before this update, if you were building a web app with Claude, you had to switch between your code editor, your terminal, and your browser, back and forth, back and forth. It was annoying. Well, not anymore. Now, Claude Code Desktop can start your dev server and preview your running app right inside the tool. It reads your console logs, it spots the errors, and here is the wild part, it fixes them on its own. You do not have to tell it. It sees the error, it understands the error, and it just goes ahead and patches it. Then it refreshes, and your app is running clean inside the same window. No switching tabs, no copying error messages. It just handles it. Think about how much time that saves. Every single time you switch between windows, you lose focus, you lose momentum. That is gone now. Claude keeps you in the zone. Hey, if we haven't met already, I'm the digital Avi's Summit. So you know how normally you write code, you push it to GitHub, and then you wait for someone on your team to review it. And sometimes that takes hours, sometimes days. Well, Claude now reviews your code before you even push it. It looks at your local diffs. It gives you inline comments. It tells you what looks good and what does not. And if something needs fixing, it can suggest a fix or just go ahead and do it for you. This is like having a senior developer sitting right next to you 24/7, except this one never gets tired, never gets grumpy, and never takes a lunch break. It just reviews everything in real time as you work. That alone would be worth the update, but there is more. Feature number 3, CI failure handling auto fix. Okay, so for those of you who do not know, CI stands for continuous integration. It is basically the system that runs tests on your code after you push it. And if a test fails, your code does not get merged. It just sits there broken until you go fix it. Claude now watches your CI pipeline. After you open a pull request, it monitors the tests. And if something fails, it does not just tell you it failed. It figures out why it failed and it tries to fix it automatically. So imagine this. You push your code, a test breaks, Claude sees it, Claude fixes it, Claude pushes the fix, and you did not have to do anything. That is the reality now. And that brings us to feature number 4, which honestly might be the most game-changing one, PR monitoring and auto merge. So after Claude fixes your CI failures and all your checks pass it, can actually merge the pull requests for you automatically. No waiting for approvals that take forever, no bottlenecks, the code is clean, the test pass, Claude merges it, done. Your team moves faster, your projects ship faster, everything speeds up. Now, I want to pause here for a second because if you are someone who builds apps, run
1 second, guys. We're gonna actually move to someone a little.
Here's some on
Take better, but
I'm always looking for neutral.
second. Let's see here.
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Based at Global just became the fastest growing startup in the world.
I go to the numbers, it could have a $6 billion valuation.
My cowork is the closest thing that I've used in the AI space that actually feels like a real human coworker. It could access files on my computer. It could use data across the apps I already use. It could run multiple tasks at the same time and run for a long time. And it's actually helped me get some real work done already. In this video, I want to show you exactly what Claude Code is capable of, and I have 7 hands-on and practical examples to show you, and I will also show you how to combine it with other powerful Claude features like Claude projects, custom skills from Claude connectors, and a few other things too. Now, I'll put a link in the description to the Claude website here where you could download the app. This is the desktop app for Mac or for Windows. You have to download it as a desktop app, and you do require a paid plan to get the co-work option. It starts at $20 a month though with the monthly subscription, but that's still going to be limited. I was able to run a few real tasks with the co-work option with that $20 plan, but I ended up actually upgrading to the $200 a month plan. I'll show you all the pricing options towards the end here. Once you install the app, this is going to be your workspace. And if you look on top, you have Claude Chat. This is the same as Claude.ai website, where you could just chat with any other Claude models, upload documents, build dashboards, all kinds of different things you could do with Claude already just on your desktop now. Then you have co-work. This is going to take things to the next level. Okay, so this is an agentic platform that helps you get actual work done. And all the use cases and the focus of this video is going to focus on this co-work option. And
So basically, what he's saying is, with chat, it's kind of like you're inputting data in the form of language, and it's going to bring you back data in the form of language. Okay. In between, what these models do is they turn your language into code, and then they turn their response from code back to language. So that's the chat. And then he says that the next level is the co-work. And so you're sending your language as data, and it's going to turn it into code. Then it's going to go based on the code that you sent, the data that you sent, and it's going to create code, right? That's going to do the work, whatever work you ask it to do. Then it's going to come back as code, turn it into language, and produce, hey, here's what I did. So basically, it can do any work on your computer, is what Cloud Cowork can do. It can do work on your computer for you. It can run in the background while you're doing whatever else you want to do, right? So it, basically, one is a chat. One is a chat that can give you feedback. The other is a chat that can actually knock off tasks.
And then you have a third tab. This is called Claude Code. You could actually build entire apps using Claude Code. This is the best and most advanced platform right now for vibe coding. So I will save this for entirely another video. Lately, I've been making a ton of different vibe coding videos. So Claude Code is definitely next on my list.
So what does vibe coding mean? Vibe coding is being able to take an idea, a vibe, right? Take an idea, give it to Claude Code, and there's other platforms like Lovable, uh, and then have that idea, and then your communication of that idea turned into actual applications that people can use. Every software that you have is an application. If you use any software, it's an application, right? Um, Google Chrome that I'm using is an application. Okay. Uh, so basically, it's going to create, you could call them apps, but I think apps get confusing because, as a layperson, when I hear app, I think like, oh, I'm downloading, like a fun Angry Birds app on my phone, right? And yes, that's an application, but it doesn't give the same uh it doesn't give the same gravity of understanding, like, no, you're building applications that can do work. You're doing applications that can actually create productivity for businesses. You're doing applications that can uh, bring in revenue. You're creating applications that can totally displace workers. Like, these applications can do tasks all the time, 24/7, automatically. So that's kind of the difference. So remember, we start with the chat. This is the evolution of AI. Every AI company is going to do this. But we started with chat. I talk to it, it takes that data, finds whatever information I need and sends it back. Then it came to I talk to it takes that data, does the work on my computer and spits it back. Now it's turned to I talk to it takes that data, it creates applications that now I can apply into other people's computers. I can apply into people's phones. I can plug it into people's businesses. Okay? That's the difference. So one, okay, is I'm talking and it helps and it gives me a response that helps me complete a task. The next level is I'm talking and it completes the task. The next level is I'm talking and it will complete a certain whatever task I've told it to accomplish every single day, every single day, 24/7, all day, forever until I stop it. And it can do it not just for me, but it can do it for anyone. That's the difference.
So the very first example I want to show you here is organizing screenshots on your computer. Now, right here, you could also choose a different folder on your computer. So in my case, I moved everything to my Dropbox and gave it access to that desktop, and it was able to look into my screenshots. This is something I've been trying to build for a long time, and I've never found an app that works. This will help you organize screenshots on your desktop, and it will create folders on your desktop. It will move things for you. This is not just telling you how to do it. This will do it for you. So I give it this prompt right here, but this is one of the default prompts, the very first prompt I used when I first tested out Claude Cowork. Then the other option they have is you can actually choose different Claude models. Recently, Opus 4.6 came out. Usually, whenever a new model comes out with Claude, it's going to be right on top. It's going to be the best model. The Opus models are the best one, then Sonnet, then Haiku. So the reason why I think they have this option is, well, this will use a lot of credits usually, but it will do by far the best job, especially if you have extended thinking turned on. But if you want to really preserve your credit, depending on your task, you may want to start with like a Sonnet model, Sonnet 4.5 in this case. Now, once I ran that prompt, this went through the folder that I gave it access to. It only had specifically access to that one folder, and it found 2,900 different screenshots just in the last couple of years. The reason why I have a lot of screenshots is because I use them to upload to different LLMs, and I could never go and find one. They're all just labeled screenshot. It's not very helpful. Well, this is going to help me organize it. So what he did was he actually created the to-do list for itself. He started with 10 screenshots here, and it was able to organize it. Then I told it to continue, and it kept doing that. Let me show you the result here in my Finder. So Claude Cowork created a folder called Screenshot Organized, and within that folder, it created these different folders. I did not do any of this. This is literally the result from that prompt. And then all these files called Screenshot, he was able to look at them, figure out what they're about, and then move them to these individual folders. And then on top of that, he renamed the file. So it was called screenshot. Well, he renamed it to what it was about. And so far, it's only gone through about 50 or so screenshots here for this demo, but I'm going to have it continue and do all 2,900 screenshots. And I might even find the other ones before 2024 and just let this organize everything on my computer for me. So if your computer is cluttered, well, this will help you organize just about anything. Okay, the second use case I think is really going to show you what Claude Cowork is capable of. It's going to create an entire marketing campaign for us. So if you are a solo entrepreneur, a small business owner of any kind, and you're launching a new product, this is going to do all the work for us. Because a lot of times we're going to have some assets already, right? We're going to have product photos, we're going to have some descriptions, target audience, competitor analysis, but they're files usually on our computer or in Google Drive or something like that. So in this case, I have these documents already, right? So I put them in a folder called Marketing Director. There's brand guidelines, there's some analysis, there is some pictures here I created with AI. I also generated the logo with AI just as a demo here, and there's a product specs. You can also give Claude Cowork access to things like Google Drive. That will use something called connectors. I'll show you an example of this, and there's other things that we'll look at here in upcoming examples. But right now, I'm actually going to choose a different folder, the Marketing Director folder, and I'm going to give it access to that folder. So each time you want to give it access to a folder, and it will use the files in that folder, and it will also be able to create files within that folder, keeping everything nice and organized as you create it. And my prompt here is to create a complete marketing campaign for this product called EcoFlow. Again, this is just a demo that I'm doing, but I told it everything about the product. I also told it what the different files that I'm giving it access to are called. And then I told it the different things I wanted to do. This has full web access, so it could do research for you. It could, again, analyze things for you. It could also create content for you. Now, what it does is it already looked at all the different files I gave it access to, and he pulled it into the context of this conversation. He also went and found these things called skills. So Claude will use these skills to know how to do specific things. There are some skills that come off the shelf. There are some skills you custom make. We'll talk about skills here in a little bit, but by default, he found these skills here for the context of what he needs to do, like creating PowerPoints, for example. And then you'll see the progress on top. He's created a checklist for itself of 7 different things in this case. And as it's going through its work, is checking things off one by one. So very agentic. This is how agentic AI works. So after about 10 minutes, Claude Cowork created all these different documents for me. So PDFs, PowerPoints, things for websites like landing pages. And then I actually followed up and said, now create different blog posts for me. Let me show you the result here on my desktop. This entire folder and every single document you see here was created with that prompt, that single prompt. Just one follow up to get these blog posts here. So our ad campaigns are all laid out here, headlines, descriptions, and it's super, super detailed. I was going through this and it's actually really, really great for Meta ads, Google ads. It created entire blog posts that are just ready to copy and paste here with headlines. It created a newsletter here for us with full details on how that should be laid out. It even created an HTML document, a landing page here.
Oh,
It
wow.
created a document for us for A/B testing different things like different headlines and so on. Again, all the formatting, everything was done. I have not touched anything. It created this entire formatted PowerPoint presentation for us.
So, okay. So we could just keep going and going and going. But what I want you to see is if you yourself went to a business and you could show that this is something that you can do for them, how much would that business pay you to create these marketing assets? A ton of money. Let's see if we can go to the next one.
Claude Cowork and you customize into Claude Cowork. HubSpot created the Claude Cowork stack. It's a collection of 12 advanced prompts designed to replace about a week of work. You'll be able to find ready to use prompts that you could just copy and paste into Claude Cowork instead of taking on this company. Then the next thing you could do is you could actually give it access to things that you use already. Connectors will.
All right, so I think you have an understanding of Claude Cowork. Okay. I would say start with this. Okay. Because you might not be making applications for other people yet. But if you can understand this, right, you can start making applications for other people pretty quickly. So I would start here. Okay. So where we're going to go to next is I actually want to show you the most important tools for your business with AI. And you know what? This is a good video, but I know a better one. One sec. I know a better one. This one. This is a good video.
The AI toolkit is live.
Go ahead and stop that. Oh yeah.
Wave of millionaires, and the next wave of millionaires and billionaires won't be programmers, creators, or salespeople. They'll be AI tool power users. So I'm going to go through 20 AI tools you can use to become a millionaire without writing a single line of code. These AI tools are what my team is using right now in dozens of my AI companies to increase the output and stay ahead of the competition. I'll even break down how to package these tools into an offer you can sell today. Starting with tool number one, Manus AI. See, most people just chat with AI and then give it stuff and then take it and then copy and paste and go do something with it and move stuff around and create files and put it in folders. Whereas Manus will do all of that for you. I'm talking open up browser tabs, save files, do research projects, send emails on your behalf.
And so Manus is very similar to Claude Cowork. Okay. Manus is similar to Claude Cowork. Manus, I think, is probably more expensive than Claude Cowork, but they're both extremely expensive in terms of for typical tech solutions, right? Uh, really, if you're smart enough to use them well, they're not expensive at all. But if you don't know how to be productive, right? Like one of the skills that is fundamental is knowing how to be productive. Okay. If you're just going to use it to ask basic questions, uh, then yeah, right? Like if you're going to use it to create a game of Pong that you play on your computer, if that's what you're going to use Claude Code for, don't use it.
The whole freaking thing. This is the easiest one to sell. Go to a business and ask them
Hey,
if they
brother.
want more customers. Say yes. Then they do to get customers. Then go to Manus and have it do a deep
Okay. Okay. All right, so sorry about that, guys. Well, I'm not. When business calls, you answer, right? That's why we're doing this.
Files, do research projects, emails on your behalf, the whole freaking thing. This is the easiest one to sell. Go to a business and ask them if they want more customers. They'll say yes. Then ask them how they currently get customers. Then go to Manus and have it do a deep customer process. You can charge a monthly fee to generate that list to those businesses in chunks every month. You give them 100 leads, 200 leads, 500 leads, but Manus does all the heavy lifting. They think you spent hundreds of hours doing this and it took you 22 minutes. Tool number two, Gamma. Essentially, what it does is it allows you to create slides and documents from messy notes. So here's how you get paid to use Gamma. Essentially, you can go to companies that have training needs or sales presentations, and you can work with them where they just send you any kind of voice notes or emails or any information about the presentation. You take that and you design using Gamma beautiful, persuasive, killer presentations, and then you get paid on retainer to be their person that does that. It sounds crazy, but if I'm in charge of creating a lot of content every month to train somebody, or I need to create custom proposals to my clients, you doing that for me is going to save me time and I'll pay you for that. Tool number three, the script. Everybody's creating content. Everybody needs to edit that content. One of the hardest parts is getting rid of all the filler words. What it does is it allows you to edit any video in. You only need to know how to edit a document and it will edit the video for you. So you can get paid to edit anybody else's videos. To sell it, you just go to anybody creating long form content. Think YouTubers, podcasters, even people creating social media content. And you can charge them every month for volume of content that they need edited. They send it over, you grab their Dropbox, and you get paid on retainer to do that. It's the easiest thing to sell because everybody's doing it right now and they know it's not really valuable and they would pay you to take that over for them. Tool number four, 11 Labs. This one is OG. Essentially allows you to take a person and create a clone voice and create AI speech output. I'm selling this to real estate agents. I'm taking their videos and their photos and I'm getting paid to script high converting, very powerful tours on top of the.
Here's one thing I want you to see. Look at all of these applications he's naming. All of these applications can be made with Claude code. Like a lot of these applications he's naming, he actually had a software developer who used AI to design it. Right? So catch game. So he's telling you to do one thing, and he does do that, right? He does use these applications, but he also makes and sells these applications. So you can either sell his applications, right? Or you can make your own applications and sell your own. And the economics around it differs, right? If you're using his applications, you want to get paid a couple $1,000s. If you're selling your own applications, you want to get paid a couple $100 a month, right? But one, you don't get as much support, right? And the other one, you're giving support and service.
Those photos and videos, but using the 11 Labs AI clone for the voice so that I can change what the person said to make it impactful, to help them sell more real estate listings. The beauty of those customers is their contact information is on the internet. So you can just call them and say, hey, I want to edit your videos for your tours. I want to create Facebook ads and use your voice on top of those ads so that they work better. I'll write the script using AI and then get you to say, you just need to approve it. Full disclosure, some of the products I'm going to talk about, they're either companies I was a seed investor in, or they're companies that I build or I collaborated with the founders. But I want you to know they're all tools that I use every day in my life. I would never recommend a product that I don't have personal experience with and know that it can deliver what I'm talking about. Speaking of tool number five, social suite. Every company is looking for partnerships for people that have access to their customers. You can use this tool to find those people, make those introductions, manage those relationships. You essentially become a relationship manager for these businesses so they never feel like they don't have enough contacts to grow their business. I use this every day. I built it originally for myself, but thought other people need access. Here's how it works. Essentially, it goes through every contact database you got. Think about followers on social media, your email, your LinkedIn, your calendar. It goes through, analyzes all that, and it has extra data that it has from social media and builds a context engine of who those people are. And then it makes it really simple for you to search. I can ask it questions like, who do I know, Dan, that's been on Joe Rogan? And if I want an introduction to Joe, please write the email that I would write so that I can get that introduction to those people. You can use your network to get paid to help people connect with the right people. You can also get paid to help other business owners that want to activate their network by installing that software with them, configuring it, and running these projects on a monthly basis. So they've always got talent, they've always got capital, they've always got resources, and you're running it for them so they don't have to log in and think about it. You do this as a service and get paid every month for it. Tool number 6, trainable.com. Imagine if there was a way where you could take a company's documents and internal videos and then use that to create standard operating procedures or processes so the company built their own internal playbook that is the Bible for how the company runs. That's what Trainual does. And you can get paid as a process consultant to help companies create these. Here's how you sell it. You essentially go to a company and say, what process is currently frustrating you about your business? You ask them for anything they got. You might even interview them on a Zoom call. And then you could use training to convert conversation into an SOP and then get paid to deploy Trainual within the company, which you want to get paid every month for. You want to be their business process consultant, always looking for other processes to take off their plate every month. Think of it that way. What is your new process? Let me work on this next month, next month. You might charge them 1,000 or 5,000 a month, but you use Trainual to do all the heavy lifting. If all this AI tooling scares you and you're like a business owner and you're kind of struggling to get your team to adopt it, I spent the last 5 years putting AI in every part of AI because it's the best for purposes. Claude is the best for writing copy, the best for writing emails. It's the best for creating YouTube scripts. Here's how you get paid big bucks. Okay. Every business is trying to create better ads for Facebook, better emails for conversions, better landing page for sales. If you sit down with them and pull out the way they talk, the way they think about the market, their unique perspective, and ask Claude to create those questions, you can get paid a lot of money every month to create those for them. And the best part with Claude Cowork, check it out, recently got announced, you can take that content and load it into the systems for those companies. I'm talking about loading the emails, updating the landing pages, magically through automation and AI. It's wild. What do you think a business is willing to pay to just have their marketing set up and running on demand? That monthly retainer is going to get you rich. Tool number 8, make.com. What it does is it connects all the different apps in a business and makes it work without any coding or any person involved. Here's how you get.
All right, so that's just a few things. Okay, you can go and you can watch the full video yourself, but understand that you don't even have to be a software developer, right? If you wanted to sell these AI tools, you could be like Batman, one person who has just 20 different tools, and you can handle anything that these companies need, right? Almost like a highly paid AI employee, right? Where you have these tools, and so you only have to work 10 hours a month, right? But you get paid $10,000 a month. The issue comes in with the sales side of it. If you can't sell, you're going to have a difficult time. If you can't get business, doesn't matter if you know all these things, right? So, and actually, what's great is this next video would kind of give you some insight on how to be personable and really where. So, you have all this artificial intelligence that's doing all the work. So why doesn't it just replace us? And this is why. People are looking for authenticity in media. They don't want to be sold by an AI. They want to be sold by a person. They don't want to buy from technology. They want to buy from a person. They don't want to watch an AI. They want to watch a person. And so this guy is Evan Olbrich, 43 views, right? So smaller channel, but I think he does a good job.
About why authenticity wins in social media today, how you can keep it real while using AI in 2025, and how to build that trust with your audience. My name's Evan Ulrich. I'm a professional surf and lifestyle photographer here in San Diego. I also work at one of the top marketing agencies in the US, and we've been recently doing a lot of research and talking into this. So I have a lot to talk about here. Let's get right into it. First thing is the authenticity shift in social media because of AI. So this is something super new, and my company's been doing a lot of actually tests on this by talking to different customers, brands to see their thoughts on this. And these are some things. So content that feels raw, real, and unfiltered is performing much better than glossy or super professional, over edited AI ads. So that is kind of the first main thing. So UGC content, user generated content, is winning with content, organic, and ads. So that is a huge thing. And research backs this. Platforms are rewarding genuine voice, behind the scenes, and less scripted content. And if you're creating visuals, authenticity should be a part of your strategy. So this is huge. How authenticity actually wins, not just by building trust with your brand, building trust with your customers.
And so what does this mean? Okay. So he's letting you know that with with images and visuals, people want it to feel like a real person either made it or is in it. Media is all going to be videofied. And what do I mean by that? The only way for me to trust what I'm reading is for me to see and hear a person saying it. The only way for me to trust the person is for me to know that in real life, that person is a real person in real life. Okay. So authenticity and trust is going to be very important with media. People don't trust technology. People trust people, right? And so get this, you as a person are positioned where AI can handle all the hard work. But since you're a person and people like dealing with people, you get to do the most valuable work, which is what you actually get paid to do, and it's not as difficult. This is why I say this is the best time ever to make money. So what does this mean for you? If you're producing content, media, anything, you want to be on video producing it. Okay. I can't know if an article is written by you or written by AI, but a video, I can get a good sense, right? You can get a good sense that I'm a real person. I'm actually taking phone calls and doing all this stuff, right? It's raw, it's real, right? It's authentic. That's what people want, right? And so people trust people. And business is all about trust. I have to trust that you care for me, and I have to trust that I care for you, and I have to trust that you're going to service me and you're going to serve me well. Okay. So you have all these AI tools, you have all this ability, you have all this skill, and you get to stand in between all of that and say, hey, let's work with you, let's expand your business. That's the future of business. That's why I said that this is actually a really, really great video.
Also, it'll perform better on social media because actually more people will watch it. With this AI content, all this new content coming out, a lot of this content, you see it, you're watching a reel or something, and you say, okay, like scroll, you see sponsored, and it's an AI video or all this like Sora stuff. Some of it's funny. I'm not going to say that's not funny. I don't watch it, but
Okay, here's another thing, okay, right? It's funny, right? I'll watch it. I would never, I would never buy a product from it. And so you have all these people who they're making their money by being entertaining and getting views. But what happens when AI can be just as entertaining and gets views? Unless you sell a product and people can trust you enough to buy from you, your advertising dollars are not going to go as far as they used to, right? So we don't want to just make entertainment. We want to make educational entertainment, or then we can say, hey, go buy this thing, and they'll do it because they trust us as an expert.
he's hurting brands. And that is the big thing. If you're building a brand as a photographer, as a creative, if I make all these videos using AI and not me talking, you're not going to trust me as much because I'm not the one talking. And I'm not the one using my experience in marketing and photography and creative business to tell you what I've learned. It's just some random bot talking, making things up. So that is a big shift. Second thing is AI and content creation. Is it a tool or is it actually just a trap that all these companies are getting sucked into? So AI is massive right now with content tools, generated visuals, and just overall automation in your workflow, content, really anything. I could build a website right now with AI in 5 minutes and it would look really good. So a lot of new things with AI. It's evolving constantly. So AI.
All right, so what is he saying? He's saying no positioning. Remember what I said about positioning? It's all going to come down to positioning with AI. Okay. Know where to use AI and where not to. For instance, he mentioned a website. I'll show you some websites that I'm making. So this is going to be a personal branded website, right? Look at this. AI, technology, media, Vincent Oliver, helping businesses and professionals navigate the ever-changing work environment in AI, technology, and media so they can thrive, not just survive. Work with me. Learn more. Boom. Boom. We're guiding the future of work. Boom. 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 This took me 5 minutes to make. 5 minutes. Y'all don't believe me. This is for my AI agency. Turn AI into your competitive advantage. We help small businesses generating $1 million in revenue implement AI. Boom, boom. AI implementation. Boom. Right? Here's what's cool. I actually have an AI agent. And if I say, hey, what can you help me with? See, this is what I made. I can show you the receipts, right? Hey, hello, welcome. I'm here to map your journey to becoming an AI native business. Let's see how much higher we can get your efficiency score today. I can help you uncover AI opportunities to scale your business exponentially without brute forcing growth, right? So I made this on here. I'm trying to show all of the game free. Let me show you one this is. So this one should be this one. All right. So to make that, I had to do all of this, right? But man, I'm just making one of these. Please, you kidding me? Dude, this is the future, man. Oh, not that. This, this, this is the future. Okay. And so do you have to do all that? No, you can use some of the AI tools that Dan Martell, the last guy that I had on here, was was showing. You could use some of those tools, right? You can also go and be a builder, right? You can also learn how to use Claude Code. You can also build websites. You can also like the future is limitless, but you have to throw yourself into learning, right? Someone who I have a lot of respect for is this guy right here, Myron Golden. You know what he said? He said he would not he right now he wouldn't spend any time watching TV or any entertainment until he was making $50,000 a month. To me, I was like, that's kind of unbelievable. Kind of hard to believe. 50,000. Like you don't entertain yourself unless you're making 50. That's what he recommends. But now I understand it because there's so much that can be done. The times have changed, so much can be done now. And so this is what's going to be important. And you need people. And so what is he saying? He's saying is so AI to create things like this, great. Do that. AI to create tools, do that. Don't use AI to replace yourself. That's why on here it says AI technology and media. You can't replace the human factor. If you try to replace people, if you try to replace people, people aren't going to like you. People aren't going to want to do business with you, right? Because you don't really care about me if you're putting AI in between me and you. I don't care if you use AI to get me a better result. I don't care. Please do. I don't know how to use AI. But you don't care enough to talk to me, to reach out to me, to give me a call, to tell me how you can help me? Man, get out of here. So, so yeah, you can have the AI, you can have all the technology. When I say technology, that's what I'm talking about. These tools that he was showing, and it's really AI, but knowing how to use software. Like the other dude said, software really is not dead yet, but you can use it. So AI, technology, and media, but you have to know how to use media. Media, you have to know how to be like this guy. Like, here's 1,000 subscribers, right? Got 43 views on a great video. Um, And it might be because he hasn't, you know, fully thrown himself and hit each step on the way of his media uh of his media strategy, right? So this is what's going to be important.
It's just going to, it's like the new Google boom where everything was like new websites coming out. Like, what is the internet? Oh my gosh, like it's the same thing. Everything's going to build out so fast. And then it's going to kind of hit where you say, okay, we've kind of maxed out with this. So, but right now we're really in that early build-up phase where we're like, we don't even know what's going on. Everything's getting changed so fast. Like everything's just ramping up with OpenAI, Google, Microsoft. All these things are going crazy every day. So just trying to keep up with that. But here's the actual catch with AI and within content and marketing. When AI content lacks human touch, audiences see it as generic or even fake, just scrolling past it. So this is big because a lot of companies that I've seen have started using AI in things like images, video editing, even making their full videos. And the problem,
So anything visual needs to have limited. You can't let AI do all of it. Anything that's visual, you can't let AI do all of it. Even things that are audio, really the written word you can kind of get away with more so, right? But things have to have a voice. What's the voice and what's the image? Has to have a brand voice and a brand image.
this is you lose trust with your audience when that's all they see. There's a big thing right now with UGC content, people behind the scenes like me. If I'm going to edit some photos, I'm showing you everything, you're going to trust that these are my photos. I'm editing these photos. Where if I'm just posting that final content, the final book, the final film, you're going to say, oh, okay, like that's a good film, but we don't really know anything about this dude. Seems cool, like he made a good film. That's kind of it. But if you have that human touch, it builds so much trust with the audience and for your brand actually. Because when you lose that trust with your brand, it is so hard to build that back. So that is the main thing. And treat AI as a tool and not as the full story. Because once you do that, you're gonna lose your whole vision and your whole brand because you're actually gonna make it where people just think, hey, like this guy is just AI, like he's not even a real person, and you lose that trust within there. So important. And third thing is why this human connection actually matters and why it performs better backed by data. So real people, real moments, audiences relate to that. They feel seen and they feel that connection. And that's something too is one thing that I've done is I've not just talked about, what I've done in business and what's been great. I've talked about these things I know with photography really flopped. In the first years of my photography, I flopped. I spent money on lenses I didn't need to spend money on. I was losing money. I've had shoots that didn't work. I've had my water housing flooded and my camera ruined. All these things, but that's where you feel that connection. It's not always in the big wins because sometimes they can't feel the big wins. Sometimes you say, man, I just signed a $10 million client with Billabong. I'm shooting all their stuff. Like, that's just not realistic. Or if you say, man, like I've had a tough season, like I'm down in sales, my camera dropped my camera, it got ruined, all this stuff. That's relatable because it happens to people. So that's where you really have to find that. Studies show that authentic content builds trust, and trust drives engagement, conversions, and long term loyalty. So a lot of brands are either going full on in this human connection or full on in this AI. And we're seeing a big difference in the performance of these. And as a photographer, content creator, showing behind the scenes your shoot, how you set up, the emotion of the moment that you're shooting, and that kind of content works so well and usually performs better than the final image. So that's what you need to realize too is some people think, man, I'm editing these photos right now for a client, but maybe people care more about my process than the final result. So I think that's something that people need to think about as well as maybe it doesn't just matter about that. Like I'm starting to build a wetsuit company right here, Maroon Wetsuits. I'm going to start showing how I'm building this company because a lot of people don't care. Hey man, this dude is super successful. He's this. No, like I'm struggling to build this company. People want to come into that and say, "What are you doing to build that company? What has been the hardest you've learned? What has been this, and this?" Like that is what people
All right, so stay authentic. Now he's going to talk about how to use AI and keep it real.
through the process, how you started, how it's going, how you finish. That's what makes you connect. Second thing is be yourself, speak directly, and just be a human being. I think that's the problem is most people say, read directly from a script, you're just reading it, boom, 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 reading each point, down to the next one, boom, boom, boom. It just doesn't make sense. Realize that too. You're not actually connecting with the audience. And that is so important. Third thing is mixing different formats. So different reels, long form videos, photos, all of this. Don't just have one kind of format, or else you're also going to lose that. Because once you're on one format, if you're just posting photos, you're going to lose a whole section of the market. If you're just posting long form videos, you're going to lose a whole section of the other market. So just mixing up your formats within that. Tip number 4 is using visuals to reflect your real experiences. So natural lights, natural locations. I'm not going to be in a professional studio shooting these videos because that's just not what I do. Like I'm in my room right now. This is a studio apartment in my bedroom. And that is showing real authenticity because that's where I shoot and edit my videos. This is where I work from. I work remote. This is where I'm at 90% of my time. When you're using AI editing, mention that you use them. Be very transparent about what you're doing. And this is so important as well because there's some people now that will post full on videos using AI, maybe even product photos, and they'll be like, professional photos shot here. And it's like, no, those are your line. And then if someone finds out and says,
All right, so basically keep it real. Okay? Keep it real. AI can never replace a human touch. And so basically, as you progress over time, over these next decades, you want to do what a human has to do, which is talking to people. Whenever you're talking to people, you're necessary. Whenever you're not talking to people, you might be able to replace those tasks by AI. Okay. And so that's actually going to wrap us up. Uh, he did a great job. Great video. See, even the smaller creators, like you can learn a lot. But so there you go, guys. That was today's live stream, Tech and Business, brought to you by Vincent Oliver. Man, invest in AI, be a learner, and then go out and deploy, whether in your work, on your teams, right? Or go out and get some business, right? Like business is where most people make their money. Okay. And you can never be replaced. Okay. You can never be replaced unless you're replaceable. All right. So get comfortable talking to people. Okay. Get comfortable with these tools so that you're not replaceable. Um, and then also check out Claude. Okay. Claude Chat, Claude Cowork, Claude Code. Check out Manus AI. Okay. These things are kind of pricey, but they might be worth it. Okay. So that's going to wrap up this one. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up and actually get some grub and then probably take a nap before the second half of the night. All right, brothers. Peace.